husband, M30, and I, F28, disagree on baby names. It's a hill I'm willing to die on. Myself, F28, and my husband, M30, have agreed from the moment we began trying for a baby that he'd choose the boy name and I'd choose the girl name. This is because he's had a boy name in mind for years prior to us even getting together. I've had a sentimental name in mind too, but for a girl. So we just agreed. I gave birth 24 days ago, and I've got to register our baby soon. He had a name in mind for a boy and I really didn't like it. It was a normal name, but a name associated with an old man in my opinion. I've never heard it in someone younger than 50. Think Steve for example. Not my cup of tea at all. But he loved it because that was his father's name and an agreement was an agreement. Well, I chose the girl's name. I chose the name Paisley. Fake name. I've loved it ever since I was a little girl and had my first baby doll that I named Paisley. Ironically, my husband and I actually ended up meeting at a park called Paisley Park, and ended up falling in love with a house on a street named Paisley Street. It's an impotent name to me. My husband loves it too. However, I wanted a specific middle name. One of two. This name is Peach. My older sister passed away 3 months ago, and being she was 9 years older than me, at one point in my life she was like an extra parent. I adored her. We were super close and she was my very best friend. Wouldn't be where I am today without her. Unfortunately, she got hit by a drunk driver and passed away. I'm honestly devastated and missing her like crazy. It's been horrible without her, especially pregnant. When she found out I was pregnant, she was ecstatic, doting on me every chance she got. I'm devastated because I know she'd have showered my daughter in so much love. At around 15, she began calling the babies in our family her little peaches. She even called me it at one point as a kid. It stuck with her until she passed. It was sweet, and when my husband and I got pregnant, she would always say she can't wait to meet her favorite peach and spoil them rotten, etc. When we found out it was a girl, she even got her a custom-made gold bracelet engraved with Peach and some other bits, and custom-made clothes with Auntie's Peach, etc. It was sweet. Even husband thought so. Prior to the death and after finding out the gender, I wanted to honor my sister and have Peach as one of my daughter's 2 middle names regardless. But especially now my sister is gone. Originally I was going to put my sister's name as a middle name for my daughter. But my sister absolutely hated her name, so I know she wouldn't have wanted that. Peach is a real name I intend to use for my daughter. The rest of the names are fake. The other middle name would be my MIL's name, Hannah. Fake name. So for example, Paisley Hannah Peach, followed by husband's last name. She'd never have to use it as she grew older if she didn't want to, and only her first and last name would be on school records, so again, unless she wanted to, she wouldn't have to use either middle name. But it would mean a lot to me for her to have the name on her certificate. It would also be extra sentimental when I pass down the jewelry my sister got me for her as she grew older. I don't want to change it. My sister was in the middle of making a video diary for my daughter for when she's older. Naturally, she assumed she'd still be around for my daughter to watch as she grew older. She planned to documenting birthdays, events and milestones. I still intend to show my daughter these videos despite it being unfinished, just so she knows how much she was already loved by her auntie. Again, this paired with the jewelry makes the name more special, as she started every video with "Hi Peach" and ended it with "Bye Peach." Single quote. It's the only thing that brings me comfort when I watch it. But my husband hates it. We can't come to an agreement. He thinks it's a stupid name and doesn't want our daughter to have it. Regardless of the sentiment, I think it's a very cute name and I want our daughter to have it, especially because if it's Sentimental value. I didn't have a say on his name choosing. I don't think it's fair he gets a say on mine because he made a huge point about our agreement. When I voiced the name he chose wasn't great at the time. He knew of my plan for a middle name from the 16-week private scab if the gender. But he was so convinced I'd forget about it. He didn't mention it until a few days before the birth of our daughter when he realized how serious I was about the name. He says he can't let his daughter go through life with a name like that, and his family seem to have the same opinion and say I'm being silly. My family, however, think it's lovely and cute and would love for me to keep it. I don't want to argue with him over this all the time. I don't have the energy. Not with a newborn and not with still grieving my sister's death. I'm not sure if I'm trying to cling on to my sister by holding on to this name. And perhaps being stubborn due to her death, but it's a hill I'm willing to die on. But I need to know if I'm in over my head here and if I need to just let it go and compromise. I am on your side and frankly I'm not sure why your husband is hell-bent against it. It's just a middle name for Christ's sake. Absolutely selfish he won't double-barrel your last names and thinks his mother should be honored in your daughter's name but not your recently passed sister. I would defo say the compromise is to have no middle names at all, but then you both lose. For the sake of this argument I'd stick to my guns, especially since he is being petty too. It sounds like his idea of a compromise is you agreeing with him, which I don't like. However, this whole you choose girl I choose boy was a bad idea, and what got you into this mess I'd say. Not great. You got your families involved either. Not sure how you get out of this with neither of you feeling bitter and resentful. Sounds like you have done a ton of compromising and not been given the same level of consideration in return. Baby girl will have husband's last name, husband's mother's name as a middle name. If you remove Peach, it's removing a part of the name that is extremely sentimental and important to you. From your side of the family, I think I actually agree that this is a hill to die on because at the end of the day it's a middle name. Like his unwillingness to budge on a middle name is absolutely ridiculous to me. Especially one so meaningful to you. Where is the same level of consideration to your feelings? Because that's what is rubbing me the wrong way here. Especially when he unilaterally told you to suck it up on the boy name. I think overall, I'm on your side. You and your husband had a firm agreement. I think your points are valid. It's the middle name he's hung up on. Right? Not the first name. And like you said, she can decide in the future if she wants to use it or just have it be a sentimental thing just for her and close family. Continue to stand firm. I'd like to think he'll give up soon. I'm sorry. Your husband is being massively unfair. He does not get to be the decider of everything. Die on this hill. He does not get to choose both boy and girl names. I had a close friend who had a very normal name. And a very silly nickname that everyone knew him by. And I mean everyone. He was locally famous. When he opened up a popular business, he called it nickname. When his first son was born, they did the exact same thing. Name. Middle name 1. Dad's nickname. Last name. A couple years later they had a second son. And when son was 7 months old, my friend died suddenly. I know his son is very happy to have his dad's nickname as one of his middle names. The business is still open too, and it ties him to that as well. Even without the sentiment, I think Peach is really cute and not odd for a second middle name. With the sentiment, I think it's cruel for him to back out now, and it's in remembrance of a very close family member, which I already told you about. Trumps, I think it's silly. I know you said he didn't want to use the different languages, but have you actually scanned the 70+ names that mean Peach, or whatever pages? There are lots of English-sounding names that are normal, for instance on a quick search. Farah and Jasmine both mean peach blossom. Tony and Doja are nicknames given to girls that means sweet, kind peach. And there's lots more. If you end up dropping it for the sake of the relationship, which would be BC, he refuses to compromise. BC, you've already suggested other options that would please you. I'd buy every piece of clothing I could find with a peach on it and start using it as her nickname. TBH. I would let them bury my corpse on this hill. Never been so prepared to die on someone else's hill, but this has me feeling so strongly for you. I would not budge on this and would leave out middle name. I would have one last talk where you tell him you had an agreement. You will be naming the baby, and if he doesn't back off, the child will get your last name. You should really look at your relationship if this is how he treats you while you are pregnant, just had a baby and just lost you sister. He sounds like he only cares about himself and his family. He would not for one moment have budged on the boy name. Think about that. Maybe this is crass of me, and frankly it's all I have to add to the top few comments. But here it goes. You said, "I'm not sure if I'm trying to cling on to my sister by holding on to this name, and I want to stop." You right there. Your son is named after his father, and your daughter will be named after his mother. Seems like he gets to cling to his loved ones, dead or alive. Quote, "But it's a hill I'm willing to die on." Bravo. Please stick to your word here. Do not let your husband steamroll you. Your husband sounds heartless. Even if he dislikes the name, it is a second middle name. It's of very little practical consequence but so much emotional meaning. Never mind the name. I'm more upset he cares so little about your feelings surrounding the loss of your sister. You could name her one thing but call her Peach. Nickname. I used to call my daughter Peaches when she was a young girl. I'd let him know that if he doesn't cave, the deal is off for the boy's name for any future babies. I don't know what to tell you here other than you are within your rights and being thoughtful. Enough about this. But if there was ever a time to support a partner between giving birth and being in grief, now is it, and your husband is failing you. I think it's a lovely way to honor your sister, and for your daughter and sister to be connected in a small way. Your husband is overreacting to a second middle name, and should understand how important this is to you. Plus, you guys made an agreement. If you had given birth to a boy, I doubt he would change his mind about the name he picked. Personally, I don't understand why your daughter needs 4 names. Why isn't 3 enough? Just do Peach for the middle and move on. Your husband needs to stick to the agreement. Well, if he doesn't like the name Peach and refuses, I would also refuse to name any future son the name he is set on. For what it's worth, I think it's a sweet sentiment. Your reasons for liking the name are far greater than his reasons for disliking it. NTA. Your husband wanted a boy. He didn't get a boy. Since he can't have what he wants, you don't get to have what you want. Emo his problem a lot deeper than the name. It's important to him to assert dominance by telling you that your choice is stupid. Stick to your guns, and when your future son asks you why his sister got a kick-ass name and he got a boring grandpa game, you tell him it's his dad's fault. I'm a 44-year-old dude and I think Peach as a middle name is freaking adorable. I love it as a standalone middle name. Honor your sister Orange Heart. I think you're in the right. You agreed and you held up your side. The name is a wee odd, but it's cute and unique. It's also a middle name, so no one has to even see it. Your husband sounds like he's being a little selfish.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.